Hi guys, how's it going? In this video we are going to add some sliders, and the sliders are going to determine the angle and the strength of the ball. So without further ado, let's get started. First of all, we should go into the 2D mode. And we're gonna add another node called Node 2D. This is just a general placeholder node. I want to use this to determine the location of all the sliders at once. So I will be able to move only this node, and that will move all the sliders. Next, let's add a label. The label should be a child of the sliders node. The text is going to be angle. And we're going to add a slider too. HSlider. H stands for horizontal. Well, let's move it. It should be a sibling of label, but a child of sliders. Let's have a look at it closer. Zooming in a little bit. We can use the mouse wheel to zoom in if you didn't already know. Let's move the label over here, and let's move the slider over here. And let's resize the slider a little bit. So let's test it. As you can see, the label just shows me text. And the slider, I can change the position of this thingy-mabob here. I can change the max value and the minimum value of the slider. So now when the slider is all the way to the left, it's going to have a value of 0. And if it's all the way to the right, it's going to have the maximum value, which is a value of 90. Okay, let's be consistent with the naming. If we're consistent with the naming and we're working in a team, then our teammates will more easily be able to know what's going on if we look at this naming over here. Okay, next I'm going to add a label for the force, or if I was being more precise, I'd say impulse. And I also want to add a slider for the force. Again, I'm using the words force and impulse interchangeably. As a science guy, I shouldn't really do this, but since it's a game for kids, I'm just gonna write force over here. Let's keep it simple for the kids. But don't forget, in real life, we're not applying a force, but we're applying an impulse, which is just a very brief force. We're going to keep the max value and the step size to the default values. Okay, so now we have two horizontal sliders and we can change their value, but so far we're not using their value for anything. So let's link this value of the slider to two variables named angle and force. We need to convert the angle and the size of the vector to an x component and a y component. So first we want to get the angle and the magnitude. $sliders, because we have a parent object named sliders. Stroke, because it's a child object. HSlider angle.value. So in other words, here we've put in the value of the HSlider angle into the variable angle. And let's do exactly the same, but with the magnitude instead of the angle. Let's just call it force in this case. It's not really correct to say it's a force, because in fact it's an impulse, but you know, for simplicity's sake, let's say force. So force would be the size of the impulse. Angle is simply the direction of the impulse. Let's see if it works. Yeah, angle is 26 degrees and force is 0. What about like this? 26 and 58. What if I put the force all the way to the top? I get 100 newtons. As you can see, it's working quite well. So in the next video, we are going to use these variables to provide an impulse to the ball. So join me then. See you soon. Bye bye.